There comes a point in every YouTuber's career where they make a clickbaity video that makes it seem like they're quitting YouTube, but really they're just changing the name of their channel. Well, I'm excited to say that that time has come. Going forward, this channel will no longer be called The Modest Man, because I'm no longer The Modest Man. Now I'm just Brock, and I'm going to tell you why. To begin, we need to go back to the quaint year of 2007. I just turned 22. George W. Bush is president of the United States, and Barack Obama has just announced his candidacy. Apple launches the first ever iPhone, and the final Harry Potter book is released. Low-rise jeans, Ugg boots, and Ed Hardy t-shirts are all the rage. And people are feeling pretty good. You know, the stock market is soaring, and nobody sees yet that the Great Recession is just around the corner. I'm about to graduate from the University of Maryland with a degree in psychology, and I have no idea what I want to do with my life. You know, it's not the best job market heading into 2008, and I find myself getting rejected from interviews that I thought went pretty well. I finally end up at a small communications firm in Washington, D.C., but on my $38,000 salary, I can't actually afford to live in the city, so I move back in with my parents and I battle rush hour traffic every morning to get downtown. I don't like my job and I'm not good at it, but I like my coworkers and it feels exciting to be in the city and to be making a little bit of money. I'm at this job for 3 years, which is about 2.5 years too long. I'm insecure at work. I don't present well and I'm out of my element interacting with clients. I look very young. I'm short, I have a dumb haircut, and I don't know how to dress myself. Then in 2009, two small but pivotal things happen around the same time. First, after my boss tells me not to show up to a client meeting wearing my backpack ever again, I swallow my pride and I ask a well-dressed, nicely groomed colleague how he always manages to look so sharp. He casually mentions that he gets all of his clothes tailored, and a light bulb goes off. Second, I read a book called The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, and I discover the concepts of passive income and location independence. A small seed is planted. Meanwhile, I experience heartbreak for the first time when my long-term college girlfriend finds somebody new. I don't yet understand that time and other women will heal this wound. And really, professionally, romantically, financially, I'm not doing great. I can't help but think that this 9-to-5 sit at a desk till you're 70 life isn't for me. Now, outside of work, I'm getting more into music. You see, I grew up playing classical piano, and I was actually pretty good. In high school, I played drums in the jazz band, and I spent a lot of my free time making hip-hop beats on an old desktop computer. In fact, I made this beat we're listening to right now. I wasn't making these beats for money, I just wanted to create. I had to create, and music was the outlet. So now, as I'm working this job that I don't like, I'm itching to get back into music. So in 2010, at 25 years old, I quit my job and I start running a home recording studio above my parents' garage. I was having fun. I love not having to battle rush hour, not having to sit in pointless staff meetings, and I was spending a lot of time doing deep, creative work, and it was very fulfilling. I even played in a couple bands, which was awesome. The problem was, I wasn't making any money and my savings were drying up. So when a friend told me about this cushy job opening up at the IT company he worked for, I bailed on my music industry dreams and I took a job once again that I didn't really want, mostly for the money. But this time I was making $60,000 a year and I felt rich. I got my own apartment. I bought a nice couch. I started dating again. And fueled by the likes of Tim Ferriss and Pat Flynn, I started learning a little bit about online marketing. I was tinkering with WordPress, learning about SEO and affiliate marketing, and I was enamored with this idea of making money online. At the same time, I was feeling some pressure to fit into this new ultra-corporate environment that I was working in, and so I started working on upgrading my personal style. I started getting my clothes tailored like my old colleague, and upgrading my shoes, and reading menswear blogs like Effortless Gent and Primer Magazine, and visiting forums like Reddit's Male Fashion Advice. I found a lot of great advice, but I did notice that none of the bloggers that I could find were really built like me. You know, I was a small guy, short and slim, and it was really hard to find clothes that fit. I thought, that might be a good niche for my own blog. So I bought the horrible domain name shortmanstyle.com and very quickly rebranded it to The Modest Man. I thought that man of modest height was kind of a gentler way of saying short guy. And on this blog, I started documenting my journey to upgrade my appearance. My early content was awkward and cringy, but I did start to get a little bit of traffic. I even started to make a little bit of money. Not much, mind you. In 2013, which was my first year of blogging, I made a whopping $1,800 $144. But it was enough, and I was itching to get out of this corporate job again, so I quit my job and I did a Tim Ferriss-style sabbatical. I went to Ecuador for 3 months. By the way, if you've never done this sort of early retirement sabbatical, I highly recommend it. But when I got home, I was unemployed, or as I like to call it, self-employed. I was gonna make about $8,000 that year for my blog, and so I needed cash. I did know a little bit about search engine optimization at this point, and these skills got me recruited for a digital marketing position at a large nonprofit in DC, a job that I took and actually really enjoyed. I got my own office, my coworkers were awesome, I was making more money than I ever had, it was like $90,000 a year. I bought a condo, I got a new girlfriend, I was working on the blog evenings and weekends and lunch breaks. I cold emailed other content creators and bloggers and YouTubers just trying to make friends in the industry. One of these guys was Aaron Marino, aka Alpha M, and he actually convinced me to start this YouTube channel. So I started making videos with my phone in my living room, poorly. But I was starting to believe that maybe this side hustle with a little bit more work could become a full-time gig. Maybe it could turn into a real business. Even though I liked this new job, I was still just desperate to get out of that 9-to-5 rat race. I could not live the cubicle life. Then I turned 30, which was a birthday that sort of messed with my head a little bit. I just felt behind in life, so I started working harder than ever. My business grew to $3,000 a month, and I was loving the hustle. In 2016, my girlfriend, who was very serious at that point, said that she wanted to move back to her home state of Arizona. I agreed to join her, and so for the third time in my adult life, I quit my job. I rented out my condo, packed up my things, and drove my car across the country to move in with a lady who I was pretty sure would become my wife. We landed in Tucson, Arizona, and just like that, our living expenses were cut in half. This meant that we could both focus full-time on our passions, mine being the Modest Man and hers being graphic design and illustration. Fun fact, she actually did all the branding and design for the Modest Man. And the next couple years were really nice. We got a nice house, we really settled in and made it our own. I started training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is the first sport that I really fell in love with. And my blogging/YouTube business was growing pretty quickly now that I was doing it full time. It actually surpassed $100,000 annual revenue for the first time. I proposed to my girlfriend, she said yes, we got married, life was good. And then for some reason, in 2019, we just threw a wrench in it. Despite our comfy life, we started itching for something else. Now, I'd already begun going to New York City fairly regularly for a mix of work and play, and I'd always dreamed of actually living there. Meanwhile, my wife had become interested in this highly specialized illustration program in Rome, Italy. And we had this crazy thought. What if she went to Rome and I went to New York City, and we sort of went back and forth for a year until she was done with school, and then maybe we settled down in New York. It was an exciting plan, you know? What could go wrong? Well, we made this move near the end of 2019, and if you remember, at the beginning of 2020, COVID hit Italy really hard. A few months later, it reached the US, specifically New York City. So my wife had to drop everything and come back to the US, and the two of us holed up in a 300 square foot New York studio for a few months. And when that lease was up, we decided to ditch the city and migrate south to Richmond, Virginia, because I had some family there. This was not an easy period for us or for anybody else, but you know, we had good friends and we were making the best of it. The silver lining was business was incredible. Traffic to my blog had doubled from 2019 to 2021. During COVID, everybody was just on the internet all day. I also ended up buying another blog about watches called The Slender Wrist from a fellow YouTuber, and that site grew very quickly. So my websites plus this YouTube channel had become a pretty lucrative little lifestyle business. I was making 3 to 4 times more money than I ever did at a real job. In many ways, I had finally gotten exactly what I had been chasing all of these years. You know, I had kind of escaped the rat race. I had total control over my time. My wife and I could live and work anywhere, and I was on a path toward financial independence. But despite all of this, I was becoming less and less happy with my work life. Things had changed. My work was no longer a creative pursuit. It was a business. I was spending most of my time hiring people and managing people and training, building out operating procedures and responding to emails and bookkeeping and doing taxes and just all those other things that you have to do when you run a company. The most creative part of my job was making YouTube videos. Basically, I was falling out of love with the business. It was profitable, but I wasn't enjoying the day-to-day. So I started to think about an exit plan, you know, maybe I could sell it. Then in October 2021, Everything changed when our daughter was born. Now, every dad knows when you become a parent, sleep and discretionary time pretty much plummet. Don't get me wrong, having a kid is amazing. All the cliches that you hear are true. They're incredibly cute, and everybody else's baby is ugly except for yours. But it's tough, and it changes every aspect of your life. Partly for this reason, my wife and I decided to move back to Tucson, Arizona to be closer to our little girl's grandmother, who could give us a lot of help. We packed our things again, moved across the country again. And I'm not gonna lie, I've moved a few times, but this one was tough. We were looking for months trying to buy a house. Our stuff was in storage the whole time. We were staying with family. I was working off of a card table in a guest bedroom at my mother-in-law's house. Thank you, Paula. It was a bit of a low point for me in terms of passion, and I wasn't in a great mood, and I wasn't my best self. I definitely was not looking forward to work. I knew that it was time to turn the page. And frankly, I wanted to take some chips off the table. I knew that I could sell the business because I've received offers in the past, but I didn't want to sell this YouTube channel. It was just too personal, and I wanted to keep making videos. So I listed my websites for sale, The Modest Man, The Slender Wrist, and all of their social media, basically everything except for this YouTube channel. It was a package deal, and I got a bunch of offers. I ended up choosing one, I lawyered up, went through the due diligence ringer, signed a bunch of paperwork, and then closed the deal a couple of months later. It was an emotional roller coaster, but it went pretty smoothly. When it closed, I felt an enormous sense of relief. Not only was it the biggest financial transaction of my life, but all of this weight of management and payroll and algorithms and all of that was just off of my shoulders instantly. I knew it was the right decision. In the weeks that followed, I did a lot of jujitsu. I played some Tears of the Kingdom. I spent a lot of time working on our new house, hanging out with family, did a little bit of traveling. It was a nice break. Now, my plan is to focus on this YouTube channel as well as my personal Instagram and TikTok accounts, which are at Brock McGough if you'd like to follow along. You can also check out my website, brockmcgough.com, for personal updates and sort of a list of what I'm up to. If you've watched till the end, I really appreciate you. I know that some of you have been here since the early days, and I couldn't do this without you, so I just want to say thanks. I'm looking forward to working on more videos for you guys. If you have any questions or suggestions or anything at all for me, leave a comment down below. Thank you, as always, for watching, and until next time, stay stylish.